Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into Module 3 of our DellEMC Data Protection Solutions course,
Oh, yeah.
Deduplication Types in Backup Systems.
Very cool.
We know you guys are really eager to kind of get into this and master this crucial aspect of data protection. So we're going to do our best to break down the complexities, highlight the need-to-know bits, and hopefully spark some aha moments for you guys along the way.
Yeah, what's really interesting about deduplication is it's not just about saving space.
Right.
It really impacts so many different aspects of data protection,
Yeah.
backup speed, recovery time, even disaster recovery planning.
Right.
Module 3 gets into all of that, so today we'll unpack it all together.
Absolutely. Module 3 is structured into 4 lessons: deduplication feature and backup systems, data deduplication levels, deduplication types, and deduplication considerations. There's also a cool homework assignment that we'll touch on a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely a good one to sink your teeth into. It involves a group activity and then also a deep dive into a scientific article written by the folks who actually developed Data Domain.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into Lesson 1, deduplication feature in backup systems.
Okay.
First things first, what is data deduplication?
Right.
The module defines it as the process of detecting and identifying the unique data segments within a given set of information, enabling the elimination of redundancy when stored or moved.
Yeah, it sounds complicated, but it's actually very elegant.
Okay.
Imagine sifting through a giant pile of puzzle pieces and finding the unique ones, and then you just keep a record of where the duplicates fit instead of storing all the pieces, right?
Right.
That's essentially what data deduplication does at the bit level, using hashing techniques to pinpoint those unique segments.
And this matters because it dramatically slashes your storage needs,
Yes,
which means big cost savings.
absolutely.
The visual in the module, I think, really brings this home.
Yeah.
With deduplication, you could be storing 10 to 30 times less data compared to traditional backup methods.
It's a game changer. Not only are you saving on storage costs,
Right.
but you're making your backups way more efficient.
Yeah.
Think about it. Smaller backups means faster replication, so you can keep data for longer. And, deduplication also comes with built-in fault detection and self-healing capabilities,
Oh, wow.
which makes your data recovery much more reliable.
So speaking of data recovery, the module highlights 3 key indicators to track when it comes to deduplication: dedup ratio, ingest rate, and recovery time objective, or RTO.
Right, those are your performance metrics, to evaluate your setup.
Yeah. Can we break
Yeah.
those down a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
So dedup ratio.
Dedup ratio is like your scorecard. It tells you how much storage you are saving.
Gotcha.
Higher ratio is better, obviously.
Yeah.
Then you've got the ingest rate, which is all about speed.
Right.
A fast ingest rate means your backups are running smoothly, minimizing those backup windows.
And then RTO.
RTO is all about, recovery time. Right. In a disaster scenario, you need to get back up and running as fast as possible. So a low RTO, meaning a quick recovery, is what you're aiming for.
Makes sense.
All right, moving on to lesson 2. Data deduplication levels.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we get into the how of deduplication,
Yeah.
exploring the 3 main levels: file level, fixed block level, and variable block level.
Right.
Think of these as different strategies for finding and eliminating redundancy.
Okay.
So at the file level, the system is basically saying, hey, I've already seen this file, no need to store it again.
Gotcha.
It just keeps a reference to the original copy, kind of like a shortcut.
Okay.
This works great for file servers and NAS backups where you have a ton of duplicate files.
Right. So it's just identifying identical files.
Exactly. But then we have fixed block level deduplication.
Okay.
It takes a different approach.
Okay.
Instead of looking at whole files, it divides the data into fixed size blocks, usually like 4 KB, and then compares those. This is a bit more granular and can be used for both file servers and structured data, like databases.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then there's variable block level, the most sophisticated of the bunch.
Ooh, fancy.
It uses an algorithm to identify variable size data segments for deduplication, making it super adaptable.
Okay.
It can handle everything, from structured data to semi-structured and unstructured data, which maximizes your storage efficiency.
So just to clarify,
Yeah,
there's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to deduplication levels.
you got it. The best choice depends entirely on, your data, your backup policies, and what kind of performance you're looking for.
Right.
Modern backup systems often have something called deduplication intelligence built in, so they can automatically choose the right level or even a combination of levels for each type of data.
Oh, it's like a smart assistant for your backups.
Exactly.
Let's look at some examples from the module.
Okay.
Let's say you are backing up a file server with a ton of like redundant files like marketing materials or design assets. File level deduplication would be a perfect fit there.
But if you are dealing with a database where even a tiny change in a data block makes it unique,
Right.
then fixed block level might be more efficient. It really just depends on the nature of the data you're trying to protect.
And for a virtualized environment.
Yeah.
Where you have a mix of, different data types constantly changing.
Variable block level could be your saving grace.
Oh, wow.
It's all about selecting the right tool for the job.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, ready to move on to lesson 3.
Yeah, let's do it.
This one is all about deduplication types, which is about the when and the where of the process.
Okay.
We have 3 main types: post-based, inline, and source-based.
Gotcha.
Each one has its own strengths and weaknesses depending on your specific setup.
So post-based deduplication is the easiest one to understand, right?
Yeah, it's like, cleaning your room after you've already tossed everything in there.
Right.
The deduplication happens after the data has been written to the backup storage.
Right.
It's straightforward, but it means you're transferring a lot of duplicate data over the network before it gets deduplicated.
Right.
Which isn't ideal for bandwidth.
So a good example of this would be like...
Yeah, like using the built-in Windows Server deduplication feature.
Okay.
It's a cost-effective way to get started with deduplication on like a basic level.
Okay, what about inline deduplication?
Inline deduplication.
Yeah.
That's where things get a bit more sophisticated.
Okay.
It's like having a super organized friend helping you tidy up as you go.
Right.
Deduplication happens in real time as the data is being written to the backup storage.
Wow.
Think of systems like DellEMC PowerProtect BD, HPE Store Once, or IBM DSI.
Okay.
Those are all designed for high-performance backup, with inline deduplication.
So those are the heavy hitters.
Exactly. Purpose-built to handle, large amounts of data quickly and efficiently.
Yes.
They minimize the amount of data transferred across the network.
Right.
And they can really shorten your backup windows.
And finally, we have source-based deduplication.
Yes. Source-based deduplication is all about being proactive, right?
Okay.
The deduplication happens at the source, like your laptop, your desktop, your server,
Right.
before the data is even sent over the network for backup.
Oh, wow.
Like decluttering your belongings before you pack for a trip.
Right. That's a good one.
Great example of this is DellEMC Avamar.
Good.
It's designed for efficient backups over the network, especially in environments where bandwidth is limited.
Right.
Think remote offices, mobile devices, even backing up data to the cloud.
So once again,
Yeah.
there's no best type.
Nope.
It really depends on your needs.
It all boils down to, understanding how each type works and how it fits into your overall data protection strategy.
For sure.
All right, let's move on to lesson 4, deduplication considerations.
Okay.
This is where we look at, when deduplication makes sense and when it might not be the best choice.
Gotcha.
So deduplication works best when you are dealing with massive amounts of data. Long retention periods, low data change rates, and high similarity in the data.
Okay.
If you're doing frequent full backups, deduplication is your best friend.
Okay.
But it's not a magic bullet,
Right.
There are scenarios where deduplication might not be the most advantageous.
Okay. Like what?
Like if your data is already encrypted or compressed,
Okay.
you might not see significant storage savings.
Well, right. It's already been done, essentially.
Exactly. And if you are only keeping backups for a short period, like less than a week,
Okay.
the overhead of deduplication might not be worth it.
Right.
Similarly, environments with high data change rates where data is constantly being modified, those might not see the full benefits of deduplication.
Gotcha.
Another thing to consider is whether your deduplication storage is being used as a virtual tape library or VTL.
Okay.
In those multiplexing environments, deduplication might not be as effective.
So essentially,
Yeah.
the key takeaway here is you need to do your research before implementing deduplication.
Before you jump on the deduplication bandwagon, analyze your data, your backup policies, and your performance requirements.
Right.
It's about making an informed decision.
Yeah. And the module provides some great questions to guide your assessment, right?
Absolutely. Ask yourself, is deduplication really right for my data? Which level or levels and type or types would be best for my needs? What kind of deduplication ratio can I realistically achieve?
Right.
Answering those questions will help you on the road to building a successful deduplication strategy.
Awesome. So we've covered a lot of ground here in part 1 of our deep dives,
Yeah.
but we're just getting started.
We're just getting warmed up.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we will take a closer look at that homework assignment, which involves a fascinating deep dive into a scientific article
Ooh.
written by the developers of Data Domain.
The OGs.
Yeah, that'll be good.
For sure. All right, welcome back. I am excited to dive into that Module 3 homework assignment with you guys. Remember that scientific article by the Data Domain developers? It's waiting for you, Hal. And it is jam-packed with insights.
You know, some people might be thinking, a scientific article, that sounds intimidating.
Yeah.
But trust me, this one is worth checking out.
Oh, yeah.
It really takes you behind the scenes of deduplication technology, revealing the algorithms and data structures that make it all work.
It's your chance to go beyond the what and get into the how, you know?
Right.
You're going to get a glimpse into the minds of the engineers who built, one of the leading deduplication systems in the industry.
That's so cool. And plus,
Yeah.
you are not alone in this.
You got it.
You'll be discussing this article with your peers in a private Telegram group chat.
It's going to be great.
It's dedicated to the course. It's a great opportunity to bounce ideas off each other, ask questions, and really solidify your understanding of these technical details.
Exactly. Think of it as a collaborative learning environment where everyone benefits from, shared knowledge and insights.
Right.
And of course, we, the instructors, will be there to guide the discussion and answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a moment and revisit that thought-provoking question from earlier.
Okay.
Which type of deduplication system, post-based, inline, or source-based, would you recommend for your organization?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and remember, there is no right or wrong answer here.
Exactly.
What's important is the process of going through it,
Yeah.
analyzing your needs, and arriving at a recommendation that makes sense for your specific scenario.
Absolutely. It's about understanding those trade-offs,
Yeah.
and aligning the technology with your organization's, goals and limitations.
Yeah, let's break down the pros and cons of each type again, just to kind of refresh our memories.
Okay, sounds good.
So starting with post-based deduplication.
Okay.
The biggest advantage here is simplicity.
Right.
You don't need to, overhaul your entire existing backup environment or make any drastic changes to your policies.
It's like adding a deduplication layer on top of what you already have. Right. The downside, as we talked about, is that you're transferring duplicate data over the network
Right.
before it gets deduplicated, which can impact your backup windows
Right.
and put strain on your network bandwidth.
Yeah. So it's a trade-off between simplicity and efficiency.
Exactly.
This approach might be good for smaller organizations with limited budgets or, people who aren't dealing with massive amounts of data.
Makes sense. What about inline deduplication?
Yeah, inline deduplication.
Yeah.
This is where performance really shines.
It does.
The deduplication happens in real time, so only unique data segments are written to disk.
Right. That means faster backups, shorter backup windows, and less storage consumption overall.
So the downside here is,
Yeah, the downside is that it requires more processing power on the backup storage system itself.
right, so you're essentially doing more work up front
Exactly.
to save resources on the back end.
That's it. And that's why it's often the preferred choice for organizations that, really need that performance and have the budget for those purpose-built backup appliances that are optimized for that type of deduplication.
Okay, and last but not least, we have source-based deduplication.
Yes. This one's all about minimizing that network traffic,
Right.
which is a huge advantage if you have, a distributed environment or you rely on backups over the WAN.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like having a filter at the source,
Okay.
only allowing the unique data to pass through.
Right.
But of course, there's always a trade-off.
Right.
This approach needs additional processing power on the client side, on the machines where the data is being backed up.
Right. So you're shifting some of that workload
Exactly.
from the backup storage system to the clients.
That's it. And this can be a great solution if your clients have the processing power for it. And network bandwidth is, a big concern.
Okay, so let's put all of this knowledge to the test.
Okay, let's do it.
Imagine you are working for a large enterprise
All right.
with a complex IT infrastructure.
Okay, I'm picturing a sprawling network with hundreds of servers,
Right.
both physical and virtual,
Yeah.
and data scattered across multiple data centers.
Right.
And even the cloud.
It's a lot.
They've got some demanding data protection requirements, too.
Yeah, they need fast backups and recovery times, efficient storage utilization,
Yes.
and the ability to replicate data off-site for disaster recovery.
It's a mission-critical situation.
It is. That's a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
So given all of those requirements,
Yeah.
which deduplication type would you lean towards?
Ooh, it's a tough one.
It seems like it.
There is no single right answer.
Right. Yeah.
But, we can walk through the thought process.
Okay.
First, we need to look at the different types of data they are dealing with.
Right.
So are we talking about large database files that change frequently?
Okay.
Or is it mostly static files like, archives and media assets?
And we also need to think about their backup policies.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So how often are they doing full backups versus incremental backups?
Right.
What are their RTOs?
Right.
How much data needs to be replicated off-site?
Yeah, all of those factors play a role.
All those factors are going to influence our recommendation.
Of course.
And then we need to look at, their budget and their existing infrastructure.
Right.
Do they have the resources to invest in high-performance backup appliances?
Yeah.
Or are they looking for, a more cost-effective solution?
This is where things get interesting.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah, it's like solving a puzzle.
Yeah.
Trying to find the best fit.
Absolutely. So in part 3, we will delve deeper into this scenario
Okay.
and explore some potential solutions.
Okay.
And discuss how different deduplication types can be combined to create a truly robust data protection strategy.
Sounds good. Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into Module 3. We have covered so much ground, from the basics of deduplication to real-world applications and key considerations. And now I think it's time to kind of put it all together and solidify those key takeaways.
Yeah, one of the most common misconceptions about deduplication is that it's like, a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
But as we've seen, there's no magic bullet. The success of your deduplication strategy really comes down to making smart choices based on your environment, the nature of your data, and your specific backup requirements.
It's like trying to, fit those square pegs into round holes.
Exactly.
You need the right tool for the job.
Remember those key questions we discussed, like, is deduplication really right for my data?
Yeah.
Which level or levels and types are best for my needs?
Right.
And what kind of deduplication ratio can I realistically achieve?
Yeah.
Those questions are so crucial because they force you to think critically about, is deduplication actually right for me?
Right. It's like a checklist to make sure you are not just jumping on the deduplication bandwagon.
Exactly.
Without knowing what you're getting into.
Now, let's revisit that hypothetical scenario from part 2 where we talked about a large enterprise with a complex IT infrastructure.
Yeah, a mix of physical servers, virtual machines, cloud workloads.
The whole 9 yards.
They had some pretty intense data protection requirements too.
Oh, yeah. They needed, fast backup and recovery times, efficient storage utilization, and the ability to replicate data off-site for disaster recovery.
Right. It was quite the challenge.
The real-world challenge, for sure.
So imagine you're the IT architect responsible for designing their data protection solution.
Yeah.
And you've considered those different deduplication types, post-based, inline, and source-based.
Yep.
You're weighing all the pros and cons. It's a tough decision.
It is. There's a lot to consider.
There is.
But given their, requirements for high performance, I think a good recommendation would be a combination of inline and source-based deduplication.
Okay.
It's about playing to the strengths of each approach.
Right, yeah.
And tailoring the solution to their needs.
So for their, critical servers and applications that demand the fastest backup and recovery times.
Yes.
Inline deduplication on, like a purpose-built backup appliance would be the way to go.
Absolutely, because then that data is deduplicated in real time, minimizing storage consumption and those backup windows.
And then for less critical data or data that needs to be backed up over the WAN, where, bandwidth is more of a concern, source-based deduplication might be a good choice.
That's a great point. It's like having a multi-layered defense, You're using the right strategy for each type of data and for each part of the network.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about these modern data protection solutions.
Oh, yeah.
They give you that flexibility to combine the different levels and types.
You got it.
You're not locked in.
Exactly. You can create a tailored strategy that really meets the needs of your organization.
It's like a toolbox full of different deduplication tools.
Yes.
You can choose the best one for what you need.
Now, let's talk about some of the considerations when you're implementing deduplication. So one important one is performance.
Okay.
While deduplication can really reduce your storage costs and improve backup speeds, it does add some processing overhead.
Right. You're adding another layer.
Exactly. You are. So it's important to choose a solution that can handle the workload,
Right.
without impacting application performance.
Right. You don't want it to become like a bottleneck.
Exactly. So it's about striking that balance between efficiency and performance.
Gotcha.
Another consideration is data security.
Right.
Remember, deduplication involves storing data segments in a shared pool.
Right.
So it's really important to make sure that your system is protecting sensitive data.
Right. We were talking about consolidating potentially a lot of information
Yeah, a lot of sensitive information.
into a single system.
Exactly. You need to be confident that your data is safe and sound. So this might involve, encryption,
Okay.
access controls, and data integrity checks.
So really just layering those security measures.
Exactly. You're layering the security.
Prevent, unauthorized access or data
Yes.
breaches.
Now, lastly, let's not forget about monitoring and reporting.
Right.
Once you've implemented deduplication,
Yeah.
it's important to keep an eye on those key metrics, like deduplication ratio, ingest rate, and recovery times.
Right. Because it helps you make sure that the system is operating efficiently
Exactly.
and it's meeting your data protection objectives.
It's like you're checking the vital signs,
Right. Exactly.
If you're a deduplication system, making sure everything's running smoothly.
And by looking at these, metrics regularly,
Yeah.
you can identify any bottlenecks, areas for improvement, or even, new trends in your data that might require you to adjust your strategy.
You got it. Stay ahead of the game.
So we have covered a lot in this deep dive into Module 3. We really explored, deduplication and backup systems.
We went deep.
We did. And remember, the key to mastering this is understanding the levels, the types, and the considerations.
Absolutely.
It's about picking the right tools, knowing the trade-offs, applying that knowledge to design a data protection strategy that works for you.
And as you continue your journey in the world of data protection,
Mm-hmm.
think about the future of deduplication.
Yeah.
How do you see this technology evolving to meet the needs of ever-growing data,
Right.
increasingly complex IT environments,
Yeah.
and the rise of cloud computing and AI?
Right. It's constantly changing.
That's a very fascinating field.
It is.
That's constantly pushing the boundaries.
Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Module 3. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and stay ahead of the game in this exciting field.
Absolutely.